Hey y'all, Todd with Industrial Comfort. I love wearing cowboy boots. The problem is, the older I get, the harder it is to bend down and wrestle these suckers off. That's where the boot jack comes in. Today, I'm going to show you how to both use and make a boot jack. And your life of wearing cowboy boots is about to get that much easier. So let's get her done. A boot jack is a simple yet ingenious little device that allows you to remove your boots without using your hands. Let me demonstrate. Wow! That's how easy it is. I'm going to go ahead and use a piece of scrap maple for the boot jack. Maples are really hard, durable wood. I think this will be very well suited for the project today. So I've marked off 12 inches. We'll make this cut to get this board down to size. Then we'll take it over to the table saw where we'll cut the tread pattern. I'm going to draw a line at 4.5 inches down, which is going to serve as the location at the bottom of the fork where we are going to catch the boot's heel. And then I'm also going to draw, while we're doing measurements, I'm going to do a center line, which we'll use to make the cuts and align the circle for later. And then what I'm going to do, here I'll make another center line here. We'll add a little detail in a bit and you'll see what I mean. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line at 2 inches up and then another line at 6 inches up. And this is going to be where we're going to mark our tread. So let's get it over to the table saw and make the tread. The next step is going to be cutting the tread on the board. And the way we're going to do that is run the board using this table saw sled over the blade, which is raised about 1/8 of an inch. What I've done is gone online and printed out a ruler that I've taped to the bottom of the sled. So what I'm going to do is line it up, make the first cut, and then move 1/4 inch down the line until we have covered the section that we marked earlier for the tread. Next, I'm going to go ahead and mark off 3/4 of an inch off either side at the bottom of the boot jack. And we are going to then cut this at an angle just to give it a little aesthetic. I've also gone ahead and drawn a line from where we just marked the board down to 1 inch below the other end and set the saw to 4 degrees. So now we're just going to make a cut along this line and do the same on the other side. For the next step, we're going to go ahead and create a hole at the top of the boot jack. Now this can be done a bunch of different ways. You can use a coffee cup or some sort of cup, trace the bottom and use a jigsaw to cut around it, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is just drill a hole. I happen to actually find this really cool antique hole saw made by a company called Rotex. I couldn't find anything about it on the internet, and I found this in my grandfather's garage after he passed. It's an adjustable hole saw, and we're going to see how it works. What I'm going to do now is mark 1 inch in, from either end. And then I am going to draw a line from that inch to the edge of this circle so that we can create our V that will serve as the heel catcher. What I'm going to do now is cut a half circle out using a 2-inch Forstner bit on the bottom of the boot jack to give it a little aesthetic. Next, we're going to go ahead and use a round over bit to round off the edges. I've gone ahead and drawn a line 5 inches from the top to the bottom. What I'm going to do now is clamp this piece of extra wood to the bottom so that it's lined up to the bottom line that we just drew. So now that we have this clamped in place, I'm going to go ahead and mark each side. Now, before I make a cut on these miter lines to fit the base, I'm going to go ahead and measure down 2 inches, as that's going to be the height of the base. We'll go ahead and get this cut. I want to go ahead and use dowel construction when we glue the base on, so I'm going to go ahead and drill some 1/4-inch holes before we drill 1/4-inch holes into the base. Because it would be really difficult to put this thing into a drill press, I went ahead and marked on the drill bit how far I need to go to penetrate the base below. Okay, we've got this thing pegged in. It's not yet glued. And what we're going to do is then figure out the angle to trim this corner so that it lays flat. So what I'm going to do is put this square edge against the bottom of the boot jack and line it up with this corner. And then I'm going to draw a line which is going to indicate where we're going to make our cut. Okay, now we'll put it on the saw. We'll be done and we'll glue things up. For the application of boiled linseed oil, I'm going to apply a liberal coat to the boot jack. I'm going to let it sit for about 20 minutes. I'll wipe off the excess. I'll then let it cure for 24 to 48 hours, and then we'll be back. I put 3 coats of boiled linseed oil and it created just a really smooth, nice finish. I'm really happy with how this came out. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks.